Have you ever noticed how some older adults seem to stay mentally sharp and physically capable, while others start to slow down not long after hitting 65? Society often pushes this idea that aging means slowing down, stepping aside, and preparing for decline. But what if that narrative isn't your reality? What if, in your case, the opposite is possible? There are subtle cues hiding in your everyday life, signs you might not even recognize, that hint you're wired for something greater. In this video, we'll unpack 8 quiet but powerful indicators that suggest you may have the mindset, habits, and internal strength to live past 100 and not just exist, but truly flourish. These aren't flashy signs like lifting heavy weights or completing triathlons. No, these are the kinds of signals that live beneath the surface. They reveal something deeper, your natural rhythm, your emotional resilience, and the inner foundation you've built over the years. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It's an easy way to make sure you stay in the loop and never miss valuable tips that could help you live better, longer. Stick around to the very end, because not only will we uncover these clues together, but we'll also talk about how to strengthen them, how to turn ordinary moments into long-term sources of vitality. These aren't just signs that you're surviving, they're proof that you're thriving, and once you see them, you may never look at yourself the same way again. Let's get started. Sign 1. You feel deeply at peace when you're alone. One of the most overlooked clues that you're built for long life is how you relate to solitude, not loneliness, solitude. There's a big difference. If you feel calm, steady, and grounded when you're alone, you've tapped into something rare. While many people feel uneasy in silence and constantly seek out noise or distractions, you might find yourself recharging in stillness. That ability to be truly okay with your own company, that's a quiet kind of strength. It might show up in simple moments like taking long walks by yourself, enjoying a quiet cup of tea without checking your phone, or feeling perfectly at peace while doing basic chores others might find dull. That emotional steadiness isn't about being antisocial, it's about being whole. Research shows that chronic loneliness speeds up aging, weakens the immune system, and increases the risk of memory loss. But solitude, the kind you embrace with ease, is completely different. It's the mark of someone who draws their strength from within, someone who finds contentment not by escaping the world, but by being fully anchored in themselves. When you're around others, you likely radiate calm. You're not easily dragged into drama or chaos. You listen more than you speak, and when you do speak, people lean in. That kind of grounded presence isn't just magnetic, it's healing. It protects you from emotional chaos that drains energy and chips away at your health. And here's the best part. This isn't something you're born with. It's something you grow into. It's a strength that often ripens with age. And if you've reached the point where peace comes naturally, you've already crossed one of the most powerful thresholds of healthy aging. If you're in your 60s, 70s, or even your 80s, and you've noticed that solitude no longer rattles you the way it once did, that's not something to ignore. It's a quiet triumph. It means you've cultivated a rich inner world, one that doesn't rely on constant external validation or endless distractions to feel whole. Across the globe, among communities known for exceptional longevity, like the elders of Okinawa or the seniors in Sardinia, this kind of inner calm is a recurring theme. These individuals are deeply rooted in daily rituals, spiritually anchored and emotionally balanced. That sense of inner stillness acts like oxygen for the soul, fueling clarity, stability, and health at every level. So if spending time alone gives you peace, clarity, or even joy, recognize that as more than just a personality quirk. It's a signpost, a powerful indicator that you've achieved emotional balance. And maybe, just maybe, it's one of the quiet clues that your body and mind are built to last. Sign 2. Waking up without an alarm clock. Here's another surprising hint that you're aging well. You wake up on your own, without needing an alarm to jolt you out of bed. It might seem like a small thing, but it says a lot about the health of your internal systems. A strong, steady circadian rhythm, your body's built-in clock, is a hallmark of good health, especially later in life. If you're in your 70s and still waking up with the sunrise naturally, without external prompting, it's a beautiful sign that your brain and body are still in sync. This kind of natural rhythm doesn't happen by accident. It's the result of consistent habits, a low-stress lifestyle, and an internal environment that supports balance. Science backs this up. People who maintain regular sleep-wake cycles often have stronger immune systems, more stable blood pressure, and healthier metabolisms. And it's not just about when you wake up, it's about how you feel when you do. If you open your eyes feeling refreshed, mentally clear, and don't immediately crave caffeine just to function, that's your body saying, "I've done my job overnight." That's the kind of sleep that heals, sleep that repairs tissues, regulates your hormones, and even clears out toxins in the brain. Sure, everyone has the occasional restless night, but if more often than not, your body naturally follows the rhythm of the day, resting when it's dark and rising with the light. You're working with nature, not against it. I've seen this in older friends who are thriving into their 90s. They wake up early, not because they have to, but because their bodies are ready. They move through the morning with a calm pace, stretching, making breakfast, easing into the day. No rush, no stress, just presence. Here's the deeper truth. When your body doesn't need to be forced awake, it means your sleep is doing what it's supposed to do. And that kind of balance, it's gold. So if you find yourself waking up before your alarm or realizing you haven't needed one in years, take that as a quiet confirmation. Your body is still tuned in, still working just the way it was designed to. And that, my friend, is a gift. If this video is resonating with you so far, drop a comment with the number 2 to let me know you're still watching. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this is a perfect moment to do it. Make sure to turn on notifications so you never miss a dose of inspiration and insight built just for you. Sign 3, forgetting the small stuff, remembering the big things. Ever walk into a room and forget why, or spend a few extra minutes looking for your keys? While that might seem like a red flag at first, there's a bigger picture to consider, especially if, despite these slip-ups, you clearly remember your core values, the people who matter most, and the lessons life has taught you. That's not a sign of decline. That's your brain prioritizing what truly counts. As we age, the brain doesn't forget everything equally. In fact, it becomes selective. It starts to filter out the noise so it can protect and reinforce what's meaningful. That's not deterioration. It's an upgrade. It's your mind saying, let's focus on the stuff that actually matters. If you sometimes forget a name but can vividly remember the advice your father gave you decades ago or how your spouse looked the day you married, that's not just memory. That's legacy. That's heart-level meaning. Studies show that this kind of memory, emotional, moral, relational, stays stronger with age. And it actually helps protect against anxiety, depression, and cognitive decline. It's not about remembering everything, it's about remembering the right things. You might find that you now see the bigger picture more clearly than ever. You react less, forgive more, and reflect deeper. That's not just age talking. That's wisdom earned through years of trial, grace, and growth. Let's be honest. How many of us in our 20s could have had a real conversation about grief, forgiveness, or finding true peace? Now you can. And even if you occasionally forget a word, what you do bring to the table is perspective, a kind of grounded insight that only comes with experience. So if you sometimes misplace your glasses, but still know exactly how to lift someone's spirit, comfort a loved one, or remind a friend of their worth, your mind is doing just fine. In fact, it's thriving where it matters most. This kind of memory connects us not only to others, but to ourselves. It reinforces who we are at the core. And that strength from the inside out is a powerful sign of graceful aging. Living a long life isn't just about counting birthdays, it's about how much meaning you carry along the way. If your memory has shifted from collecting every detail to focusing on what truly matters, that's not forgetfulness, it's growth. It's not a flaw but a reflection of the wisdom you've earned and the deeper story that's still unfolding. Sign 4. You complain less than people half your age. You might not think much of it, but if you've caught yourself complaining less about your joints, less about the news, less about small annoyances, it's a bigger deal than you realize. That kind of calm, low-stress outlook isn't just pleasant, it's powerful. It's one of the strongest silent protectors of your health. Science is clear on this. Chronic stress is brutal on the body, especially as we age. It hikes up blood pressure, weakens your immune system, increases inflammation, and even accelerates aging at the cellular level. But when you've learned to let things go, to choose peace over frustration, to laugh the chaos die, instead of simmer in anger, your body responds. It rewards you. If you find yourself saying, "It is what it is," and genuinely meaning it, you've tapped into a quiet kind of strength that many people never discover. You may have noticed that while others get caught up in complaints about the weather, the traffic, or how things just aren't like they used to be, you catch yourself thinking, actually, life's still pretty good. That mindset, it's rare, and it's healing. Negativity drains the body. It clenches your muscles, shortens your breath, messes with your digestion, and robs you of sleep. But emotional peace soothes. It eases your heartbeat, supports your immune system, and even helps repair cells at the microscopic level. This kind of mindset doesn't always come naturally. In fact, many people who live long lives are the very ones who faced serious pain, loss, illness, betrayal, and made the choice to rise above it, to embrace gratitude instead of bitterness. I once met a man named Harold, 83 years old. He'd lost his wife, most of his siblings, and much of his hearing. But every morning he'd sit quietly on his porch with a coffee in hand, look at the sky, and say with a smile, "Another good day." That's not denial. That's discipline. That's the strength of someone who's chosen to hold on to what's good every single day. Now that doesn't mean you never feel sadness or frustration. Of course you do, you're human. But if those feelings don't control your life, if you laugh more often than you grumble, if you've learned to shake things off and move on, you're showing a survival skill more powerful than most people realize. So if people say you're easygoing or tell you that being around you brings them peace, believe them. It means you've created an emotional environment that's healing, not just for others, but for yourself. While others may burn out under the weight of every little problem, you keep moving forward, steady, resilient, and free. Still with me? Drop a number 4 in the comments if that sounds like you. And hey, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time. Hit that button, turn on the bell, and let's keep growing together. Sign 5. Slower steps, but more mindful movement. Maybe you've noticed that your steps have gotten a little slower over time. But here's what matters. If you're moving more deliberately, more aware of how you walk, how you shift your weight, how you take each step, that's not weakness, that's intelligence. As we age, speed becomes less important than control. In fact, rushing is one of the biggest causes of falls among seniors. But moving with intention, that's how you protect your body and preserve your independence. When I see someone in their 70s or 80s using a handrail, not because they're frail but because they're smart, I don't see fragility. I see wisdom in motion. That's body intelligence. That's your brain and your body staying in constant communication. And mindful movement isn't just about walking. It shows up in how you get out of a chair, how you reach for something on a shelf, how you step through a busy room without bumping into anything. Younger folks might rush and stumble, but you move with purpose, and that protects you. People who move this way tend to avoid major injuries. They stay active longer, live independently longer, and suffer fewer setbacks. Why? Because they're not careless, they're conscious. One serious fall can derail everything, but those who live past 100 often have surprisingly few major accidents. That's not luck, that's intention. And here's another truth. This kind of movement reflects mental clarity, too. When your brain is functioning well, your body follows suit. You scan your surroundings, judge distances, react thoughtfully. That kind of mind-body connection is one of the most underrated keys to a long, healthy life. It's also no coincidence that people who live long lives often have rituals around movement, a walk every morning, stretching at sunrise, Tai Chi in the park. These aren't just exercises, they're moments of connection, time to tune in to your body, your breath, your purpose. So if your pace has slowed but your steps are steady, if your posture is strong and your movements are intentional, you're not declining, you're adapting. You're choosing awareness over speed. And in a world that often misunderstands slow as weak, here's the truth. Slow with control is one of the most powerful strengths you can have. So don't doubt your careful steps. You're not just walking, you're practicing a life-extending art. The real key to longevity isn't just surviving what life throws at you, it's bouncing back from it. The difference lies in recovery. People who live long lives don't just endure, they heal. Their bodies and minds seem to instinctively know how to repair themselves, how to regulate stress, manage blood sugar, balance blood pressure, and keep everything running smoothly behind the scenes. And you know what? That kind of resilience isn't always about perfect biology. Sometimes it's rooted in mindset, in sheer will. It's the decision to get up and keep moving, even when your knees are stiff or the silence in your home feels too loud. It's choosing curiosity over resignation, trying new things, learning how to use a smartphone, taking up a new hobby, calling a friend just to check in. That flicker of engagement, that urge to keep showing up for life, is often what separates those who merely exist from those who continue to truly live. So, if you found yourself still here years after the doctor who treated you is gone, still cooking dinner, laughing at reruns, fixing a leaky faucet, you're not just passing time. Your body is making a quiet but profound statement. I'm not done yet. I still have something to offer. And if you're still here, watching, reflecting, and growing with us, type the number 6 in the comments. Let us know you're part of this journey. And if you haven't subscribed yet, take a second to hit that button and turn on notifications. That way, you never miss the inspiration that's coming next. Your support helps us keep producing thoughtful, uplifting content just for you. Sign 7. Eating simply and stopping before you're full. If you've found yourself naturally eating smaller portions, pausing before you're full, and gravitating toward clean, nourishing meals rather than heavy or indulgent ones, you're not just aging, you're evolving. This habit isn't just about food, it's instinct, and it's a trait that consistently shows up in people who live well beyond 90 or even 100. Researchers have studied the world's longest living communities, from Japan to Greece. And time and again, the common thread isn't strict diets or trendy superfoods, it's restraint. It's moderation. It's knowing when enough is enough. If you're no longer drawn to overeating, if second helpings have lost their appeal, that's not a loss. That's wisdom. Your body is telling you, I know what I need, and I know when to stop. That's not discipline. That's alignment. This kind of intuitive eating brings incredible benefits. Smoother digestion, balanced blood sugar, lower inflammation, and less strain on the organs that keep you alive. Your heart, liver, kidneys, and brain. Take the Okinawans, for example. one of the healthiest, longest-living populations in the world. They live by the principle of hara-hachi-bu, which means eat until you're 80% full. That slight restraint, practiced day after day, allows their bodies to stay light, flexible, and well-functioning deep into old age. Maybe you've noticed a shift in yourself, too. You're satisfied with a small plate of food. Dessert doesn't tempt you like it once did. And a bowl of fruit or a hot bowl of soup brings more joy than a heavy, rich meal. That's not your appetite fading. That's your body becoming more efficient, more in tune with its needs, and when you slow down to eat, really chew, really taste, really enjoy, you activate your parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and digest mode. It's the body's healing zone. It calms you down, reduces stress hormones, and supports graceful aging from the inside out. I've seen this pattern over and over again in people who live long, vibrant lives. They don't eat to escape boredom or fill emotional gaps. They eat to nourish, and they almost always eat in calm environments at the table, with intention, not in front of a screen or on the go. So if food has become simpler, more peaceful, and more purposeful for you, don't dismiss it as just getting older. Recognize it for what it is, a deep intuitive wisdom, a signal that your body knows how to thrive and is doing exactly that. Sign 8. Finding joy in routine, not just novelty. We live in a world obsessed with the new gadgets, new trends, new places to visit. We're constantly told that happiness lives in change, in chasing the next big thing. But the truth is, the people who live the longest, fullest lives often find their deepest joy in the familiar. If you've learned to savor your routines, the small, everyday habits that others might overlook, you've tapped into something profound. That's not boredom, that's strength. There's peace in predictability, a kind of rhythm that steadies the mind and nourishes the heart. Watering your plants every morning, taking a walk after lunch, listening to your favorite old radio station while making dinner, these aren't just background activities, they're anchors. They give your day structure, they remind your body of safety, and they whisper to your brain, all is well. People who live into their 90s and beyond often have routines they've followed for decades. And it's not just about habit, it's about meaning. Routine becomes sacred. The ordinary becomes a source of extraordinary peace. So if you no longer feel the need to constantly chase novelty, if you find joy in the slow, the steady, the simple, you're not stagnating, you're flourishing. Routines aren't just habits, they're anchors. They stabilize your nervous system and bring a sense of order that your body deeply appreciates. Structured rhythms help regulate your internal clock, leading to better sleep, smoother digestion, and a mind that feels calmer and more centered. More than that, routines reduce anxiety by creating predictability in a world that's often unpredictable. And maybe most importantly, they free up mental bandwidth. So your energy isn't spent on decisions or distractions, but on what really matters: deeper connection, quiet reflection, and sincere gratitude. I once spoke with a man named Edward, 87 years old, bright-eyed, and steady-voiced. He told me he'd had the same breakfast every morning for over 3 decades. "It's not boring," he said with a grin. "It frees me to focus on the things that matter." That clarity, that simplicity, that's not routine for the sake of comfort. That's focus. That's mastery. So, if you've found peace in your own rituals, your morning stretches, that afternoon coffee, the evening call with your son or daughter, don't underestimate them. They're not small things. They're signs that your life is rooted, balanced, and meaningful. Even more than that, routine doesn't shrink your life. It expands your inner life. By grounding yourself in daily rhythms, you create space to notice life's quieter gifts, the warmth of your favorite chair, the way morning light dances across the wall, the sound of your own breath slowing after a long day. These are the moments that build a life worth living. Sure, excitement has its place, but lasting peace often comes not from chasing new thrills, but from honoring what's already working, from cherishing the habits, the relationships, the sacred patterns you've spent years building. People who reach 100 years old often have routines that feel almost ceremonial. They eat their meals at the same times, walk the same peaceful paths, greet the same familiar faces, and in that repetition, they don't find dullness, they find belonging. So, if your days have settled into something familiar and warm, if your steps have slowed but your soul feels full, if you no longer need chaos to feel alive, then don't see it as a slowdown. See it as arrival. You've arrived at something extraordinary. As we come to the end of this video, I want to offer a moment of pause. Maybe one of these signs struck a chord. Maybe several felt surprisingly familiar. Either way, if you're in your 60s, 70s, or even your 80s, and you see yourself reflected in these stories, hear this clearly. You're doing better than you think. These signs aren't flashy. They don't demand attention, but they are powerful. They point to a kind of strength that isn't built in gyms or hospitals. It's built in kitchens, backyards, living rooms, one mindful moment at a time. You don't need to run marathons or chase youthful dreams to live to 100. Sometimes the strongest proof of vitality is quiet. It's how you handle stress with grace, how you eat with intention, how you move with awareness, and how you still find joy in the ordinary again and again. So tell me, what stood out to you most today? Which sign do you recognize in your own life? And which one would you love to lean into even more? Because sometimes all it takes is seeing the strength that's already in you to completely change how you carry yourself through each day. This video wasn't just about longevity. It was about honoring who you already are and the quiet victories you've been stacking day after day. If any part of you feels a little more hopeful, a little more seen, a little more grounded, that alone makes this conversation worth it. Thank you truly for being here with us. We'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell us what's one insight you're taking with you today and how will you apply it. Reading your reflections fuels our mission and reminds us why this work matters. If this video brought you value, please take a second to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need it too. Your support helps us continue creating content that uplifts, educates, and empowers. Thanks again for watching. We can't wait to see you in the next video.